So, but back to the original question at hand is, should you pay your business rent? Now, I am telling you, companies like what's the L brand? L brand is hold on a second. Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret decided that they would not pay their rent for April. In fact, Boeing even had, like, a lot of companies are not holding to their legal obligations based on what they're supposed to do. In fact, Boeing took $363 million for one of its new jets from a company. From a company that wanted to buy one of those jets, and they have not delivered, and they said they're not going to actually give the money back, at least not as of yet. But do know that if you Google large companies that have decided to not pay rent to landlords during the pandemic, you will see they're well-known companies. If I'm not mistaken, I think Dick's Sporting Goods and a bunch of other companies did not pay April's rent. So what do you do if you're a small business like that? And you know that honestly, a lot of these big companies, they're going to get some form of relief through the CARES Act, and at least from the CARES Act 3.5, which is $485 billion. Somehow, some of that money is actually going to come to small business. Remember, small business is classified as 500 employees or less, right? Truthfully, as we learned that 3/4 of the last stimulus package, which was $300+ billion, that was dedicated to the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, a lot of that money went to big companies, all right? Meaning companies that were over medium-sized to big companies that had more than 500 employees. And a case in point would be Ruth Chris, who has like 5,000 employees. Of course, Shake Shack and some other big companies actually got a lot of that money. So, should you pay your rent? That is the question. And so my question to you is, how much of your pride is involved in this, right? Because remember, I said I made the mistake of literally trying to pay my rent, thinking like, man, this thing is going to turn around. And then they say banks were too big to fail. And that was bullshit, because all of the banks that I had all of my stuff with, they went under, right? People were going to jail. A bunch of shit happened, right? And deals that I thought would close, they did not close. And hence, I was stuck with tons of bills, and I paid all that cash out. And ultimately, my credit got extremely trashed because I was on the hook for all that. I personally guaranteed a crap load of contracts, right? And I lost money out the wazoo. Okay. But my counterparts, other guys that I knew that were in the industry, who are still in the industry to this day, they decided to take a different option. They decided to file for not Chapter 13, but Chapter 7. First of all, they had Chapter 7 protection, right? And I'm not saying anyone should file for bankruptcy. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm telling you what they did. The way that I had my company set up, I'm doing business as, I was not an LLC, I was not an S Corp, I was not a C Corp, I was none of those things, but my counterparts, they were all of those things, and they were able to come out of the situation unscathed, because they basically said, F you, I'm not paying you anything. They filed Chapter 7. They included all their debts in there, and that was it. You know what I mean? No, I'm sorry. Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is what they filed. See, there's 7, 11, and 13. 13, and remember, I'm not a CPA, and I'm not an attorney, and I don't play one on TV. All right? Chapter 13 is personal, right? Chapter 11 is, if I'm not mistaken, because it's been a while, Chapter 11 is when you decide that you're not gonna, pay anybody back. And then let me just look it up. All right. So I don't want to be on here telling anyone anything wrong. All right. Chapter 7, bankruptcy. All right. Chapter 7 bankruptcy. What is Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Chapter 7 bankruptcy is what people do. They either file Chapter 7 or they file Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is when they want to reorganize all their debts and pay it. Chapter 7 when they say, screw you, I'm not filing anything. Chapter 11 is for businesses. Okay, now we got that straight. So anyway, here's the point. Because I did not set myself up right, I decided that I was going to try to weather the storm and pay this. I looked up 3 months. I was out of thousands upon thousands and thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, many of my friends, my counterparts, who didn't look like me, and I'm just being honest, they were not of the same skin tone, who did not look like me, were still living their lives fairly the way that they had lived their lives before, right? I realized that I was chasing too much of my pride being associated with owning a business and having all of this, that I was trying to maintain it, right? And because I was trying to maintain it, I could not maintain it because my supplier, the banks that I dealt with, they were gone, right? They were gone. So I had no suppliers, and that was it. My business was done. Ultimately, I ended up sleeping in my car for about a month. However, I have friends who had these huge houses, and they remained in their huge houses, and they're still in the business that I was in till this day because they weathered the storm, because they were smarter. So I have to ask you the question, and I'm just simply posing it to you. Are you going to be smarter about this, or are you going to let pride get in your way, right? I have friends right now who literally turned, when this thing started, they say, fuck it, I'm going to shut this thing down because we don't know when we're going to come out of this. And I'm not going to constantly put money out there not knowing if I'm ever going to be able to recoup it. And I have friends that say, you know what, I'm going to weather the storm. I'm going to pay this rent. I'm going to apply for this relief through the PPP, through the SBA, PPP, Paycheck Protection Program. I'm going to get some money in the doors. And they applied and they didn't get money, right? They didn't get money because the money quickly ran out just like that. So my question to you is, what are you going to do? Now, being the smart of me, I've shared with you guys yesterday, go back and look at the live stream from yesterday, what you should and shouldn't pay for, right? I shared with you all these different ways on how to cut costs, how to use independent contractors to help you maintain your business, how to use technology, leverage technology to meet and to engage customers, to meet and engage your employees, or your independent contractors, and how to handle customer service requests, all those different things I shared with you yesterday. The smart of me today, one, would not shut my business down like I did before, right? I would keep my business going, but I would do it in a smarter way. So again, if you want some of those tips that I shared yesterday, just please go down in this feed and see what you should and should not pay for, all right? During this situation, all right? During this current environment. That's what I suggest that you do. The smart of me also knows that I would definitely not fucking pay rent. I would not pay rent. I would not pay rent because having gone through it before, I realized that at the end of the day, I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars and still ended up with bad credit. And let's just face it, and I think last week's numbers was like 22 point whatever million people file for unemployment. There's going to be a whole lot of bad credit floating around, right? Because I do believe in the act that you can freeze certain things. Like, for example, if you have student loan, you don't really have to do anything. Federally backed student loan, you don't really have to do anything. You know why? Because they automatically suspended the payments. And I've gone to some expensive ass schools. I graduated from TSU. Yes, I am an alum of an HBCU. Hell yeah, HBCU. But at the same time, I did go to Boston and I did go to UMass for my graduate degrees, right? And I have two. I'm not saying that to impress you, but to impress upon you, I fucking got debt, okay? And I'm keeping it 100 with you. But I knew that I could leverage all this education to create opportunities for me. And so I'm going to pay that back. So when I went on to pay even though our company has not shut down, I went on to pay the student loan. It said payments were suspended till September. All right. So if you have a student loan, the CARES Act protects you and you don't have to make payments until September. Just go. I mean, and I'm not talking about federally backed loans, right? But I'm not talking about if you like borrowed from Discover to pay your loans. Because, by the way, Discover, I remember this from 2008. Discover will still call your ass no matter what is going on. They're trying to get their money because they get paid by the number of collections that they make. So I'm going to share a little bit with what Marion is saying. Marion say he agrees with me. Yeah. Marion, guy or lady? Okay, I'm sorry if I get it wrong. Okay, thanks for your transparency. Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, I'm keeping it 100 with you, right? I'm keeping it 100 with you because, truthfully, there are companies right now that owe us money, like thousands of dollars. They owed us thousands of dollars before this shit even happened, and I already know that they're not going to be able to pay us now, right? I know they can't pay us now. So I'm not knocking on their door saying, hey, give me my money. Although, when you guys come out of this, I really like to have our company pay for the thousands of dollars that are owed to us. However, you will not get a call from me anytime soon asking you about our money. You will not get any kind of a lawsuit from us asking you for our money. You will not get that. You know why? Because I realize that we're all in this together, right? We're all in this together. So I'm going to leave you with this. Should you or should you not pay your business rent? The only thing that I can say to you is, will you be better off on your credit as far as your credit goes? Or are you still making money? Will you be better off, say, if this thing carries on? Because they say that this environment will actually get worse somewhat in the fall. And as you know, a lot of governors are pushing to reopen, right? I'm not saying that every governor is pushing to reopen, but when you look at the governor of Georgia, and when the governor of Georgia is saying, hey, tattoo parlors, beauty salons, barbershops, they can reopen. I'm like, hell, people are all up in your face. They're all on your arms, because I got a shitload of tats all over my body, right? So I'm saying to you, you have to think about whether or not it's worth it. You have to think about whether or not, if you're in a certain state and you're watching this, because I know people watch this from all over, whether or not your creditors or your debtors can literally go after your personal funds. Okay, you have to think about that. You really do. Fortunately, I'm in Texas, and they really can't. They can, in a way. Now, keep it. I'm only sharing you my experience. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney, right? They can't go after income tax and stuff like that. I'm talking about in Texas, paychecks and stuff. They can't go after that. You get that directly deposited. However, there is a way for them to, even in Texas, to even try to lay claim to that. So you have to think about where you are right now and whether or not your creditors will be able to go into your bank accounts. And you have to think about that. So because I'm in Texas, I'm like, if I was in that same situation like I was in 2008, I would say, hell no, I would not pay. So it's up to you. Thank you all for checking out the Startup Junkie. Wow, so many people in the room stayed on for a while. Hey, I appreciate you, okay? Do me a favor. Please share this post, all right? Please share it. And be sure to check out the Startup Junkie live show as we multi-stream Monday through Friday. We get started between 11 and 11:30 a.m. I'm making that clear now. But you can always catch the Startup Junkie podcast on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, as well as iHeart Media. So until tomorrow, everyone, where I promise to you I will have a better understanding of my new Stream Deck, and so I'll have a smoother show. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me. Don't know what tomorrow's topic is going to be, but it'll definitely be relevant. Take care.